Welcome back. The highest law enforcement officer in the land just gave police more freedom to seize suspects' cash and property through asset forfeiture. In other words, they're going to take your stuff without having to ever give it back. And it seems reasonable, right? No, the Attorney General also let slip why the man is such a fan of asset forfeiture when he announced his actions yesterday. Watch.
Civil asset forfeiture takes the material support of the criminals and instead makes it material support for law enforcement. Funding priorities like new vehicles, bulletproof vests, opioid overdose reversal kits, and better training are all paid for by asset forfeitures.
Yeah, just stealing stuff and giving it to law enforcement. That's great. The only problem is it's not always criminals they take the money and stuff from. Yeah, they can take property from people just because they suspect them of a crime before they're convicted or even charged. Session argues asset forfeiture makes it easier to fight crime, but is it really worth giving up our civil liberties? Blaze TV host Lawrence Jones joins me once again. Welcome back, Lawrence.
Thank you.
So this is pretty incredible. There was a Reason study, and they looked at 23,000 cases of civil asset forfeiture in Cook County, Illinois, and they found the hardest hit neighborhoods are the poorest ones, where they take stuff from people who pretty much don't have anything, and they don't have the means to fight to get it back even when they're innocent.
Let's just be honest, this is shady. It is shady. This is anti-Constitution. I have no problem when you get a criminal conviction and then you take the property away, but what happens is in many cases they prey on the weakest people in the community that don't have the financial means to actually go against the government, because this is the government taking people's property without conviction, and then they fund salaries, they buy new cars, and that's the hardest problem with this issue, is that a lot of the cities, they make this argument that, well, we won't have cops if we don't have civil asset forfeiture. How about you use the money that we pay in taxes to fund our law enforcement and give their salaries, not criminals? Yeah,
and maybe prioritize some of these pensions that we're funding.
Exactly.
And if law enforcement is so desperately in need in some of these tools, and in some cases they really are, then maybe we need to do a better job of managing that public money.
But it's also, it has to do with them doing their job. You have to do a complete investigation first. And in many cases, we've seen that once they complete their investigation, they don't return the property back. There's people, drug dealers, that steal property from other individuals. They seize it, and instead of giving it back to the real victim, they take it and sell it, and then fund salaries, new initiatives, which is all fine if you want new initiatives, but use the taxpayers' money, not criminal.
Yeah, and don't violate people's Fourth Amendment rights.
And that's my biggest problem. Don't violate the Constitution. And we see the breakdown with many communities in the police department. This only makes it worse when you're taking property away from citizens without getting the conviction. Just get a criminal conviction, and then it's all good and dandy for me.
And then I think a lot of people would realize that, oh, maybe this is a good tool. But if you're just taking without charging, even if you just suspect from someone, there's something wrong about that. Anytime an innocent person is caught up in that net.
And this is something that, if you're a libertarian or a Republican, we should be leading the way on this issue. Now, you got senators like Rand Paul, Cruz, Rubio, that have spoken up on this issue. But I think there's a lot of people, Mike Lee as well, but there's a lot of people that have this back the blue, which I get it, but we got to back the law before we back the blue. And so I think that's the approach we should be taking.
We should be interested in the law part of law enforcement.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Lawrence Jones.
Kennedy.
You can't spell Lawrence without law.